Well, welcome back. Now over to you, Uche.
All right. Well, that it was quite a very interesting conversation we had with Chief Augustine Edu on senior citizens' welfare and care in Nigeria. And now we'll be leaving you with an interview we had with Ifediora Amobi, a development economist. We looked at the 419 billion naira unconditional cash transfer distributed to about 6 million Nigerians. Well, that brings us to the end of our show this morning. Thank you so much for staying with us and for joining us this morning. I am Uchenna Chimdi Oluoha.
And I am Lilian Wale. And after that, we'll be bringing you the conversation from Abuja studio. Do stay with us.
The program.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for joining us. It's always a pleasure having you here. All right. Now, first of all, I'd like to know, hearing the money that government has already disbursed to, the 6 million Nigerians under the conditional cash transfer program. I'd like to know, what do you think about that, from your perspective? How do you see it? What's your take on the money that is being put out and of what relevance it would be to people?
Well, thank you very much. Well, every amount, no matter how much it is relevant when it is given. The problem I have, or the issue I have with this, is that it's making us more and more a palliative-driven economy when it comes to the social infrastructure that we are trying as much as possible to resolve. 419 billion naira is a lot of money. However, Nigeria is, a large country. And so if that amount has been disbursed to about 6 million people or 6 million households, depending on which source you're actually looking at, that's about 70,000 naira over the life of this administration. What is 70,000 naira in today's Nigeria? It doesn't really get you, much. Yeah. And so you're given a palliative, which is, it solves an immediate cash problem, but you can't sustain it. The argument basically would have been to find programs that are a bit more productive, because it's a consumption-driven, exercise. So I give you 70,000 naira, you go to the market, you buy things, you eat, and that's it. If that amount was used to say, was used, for instance, to, if it was put into, let's say, a social program or a productive program to subsidize agriculture, subsidize seeds or fertilizer or something to farmers, then you're now, adding to the food productive cycle. If it was also used as soft loans to smaller, small business people, then it could make their businesses grow, they can create jobs, So that's a bit more sustainable than just giving people cash. Another issue is, who gets this money? Now there's what's called the National Social Register that has been put together. From what I understand, it's as at August or July last month, there are about 68 million names, on that national register. States, local governments, communities have been, contributing through their state offices to, populate the register. How government can now confirm that these people are poor, these people really need that money, is up to, the office that coordinates it. Today, all the states participate in this. However, only 24 states out of 36 states and the FCT qualify for this conditional cash transfer, which Enugu State is not one of them. So, people around Enugu, around Ebonyi, around Abia in the southeast have been asking, we hear about all this money being disbursed, but we've never really gotten anything out of it yet, because in the Southeast, these three states are not, part of it. In the Southwest, I think it's Lagos to Ogun and Ondo states are not participating. In the South, you have Delta, Bayelsa, Edo that are not participating.
Yes.
So you have the majority of the states in the South are not part of the CCT. And so government announced that about 71% of disbursements have gone to the north, and about 29 come to the south. So more states need to participate in this to be able to, benefit from it. But like I said earlier on, it's more consumption and less production. And it has to be more productive, inclined than consumption driven, in my own opinion.
Okay, so I want to ask, with all the economic challenges and insecurity, poverty rates, and a whole lot of things going on in Nigeria, why did the government resort to conditional cash transfer instead of facing what is facing Nigeria?
Well, that's actually a very, very good question. The whole idea behind the conditional cash transfer was to help the poorest of the poor, the vulnerable within the population, and try and lift them up, temporarily until they can stand on their own feet and be able to, fend for themselves. And just like the first word in that, the first C is conditions. So there are conditions. It's not just money that's given to everybody or anybody on the street because you're poor. The recipients have to meet certain conditions. One being that, your children have to be registered in school and go to school. They have to be regular, pay regular visits to your local health centers and get vaccinated, etc. The household has to be headed by a woman. There are some of these conditions that qualify, households. And so if the government is saying that they have done about 6-point-something million, about 6 million households or individuals, and that means that they have gone through those conditions to be able to qualify. Now, like you said, with the poverty rate and everything going on now, why disburse cash? Like I said, well, it's a temporary thing. People need to eat. However, like I said earlier on, it has to be a bit more, there has to be a mix of giving people cash and also, putting some of that cash into programs that can last longer. More money is going to be given this month, August, about 54 billion Naira to about 2.2 or thereabout million households. And each one is going to get 25,000 Naira a month for 3 months. So the question now is, what can 25,000 Naira do in today's Nigeria? And after 3 months, what happens? Right. So, it's almost like giving you, a spoon of water when you're really, really thirsty. When
a spoon is too much. Let's say a drop of water.
A drop of water. Yeah, exactly. You see, so as much as, yes, government is trying to see how they can help people, in these harsh economic times. But when you look at the amount, 419 or 420 billion Naira, if that had gone into just one sector, school meals program, food vouchers, something like, food vouchers is something that many countries do. So what they do is, instead of giving you cash, because I can give you 25,000 Naira, you can go to the hairdressers and get your hair done.
Yes.
Or we can create food vouchers that you can redeem in the market or at the shops. At least we know that these vouchers, because they're specified, are used for food, certain food items. So at least you can track where that money, where the cash is going to, because we're not giving you cash. And you can't go to the hairdressers with the food voucher. You can go, right. So it's a bit more direct. And so these are some of the things that we have to think about. Agriculture subsidies, We're trying to encourage urban farming and, etc. So if certain inputs like fertilizers and seeds and stuff can be subsidized or even given free to people so that they can start growing their own yams and vegetables and stuff behind their houses, that would go a long way than just give me 25,000 naira every month.
Yes.
In the middle of it, you're actually increasing tariffs for your, your data, your electricity,
and
all sorts of things. Yeah.
That's true. Now, already we are dealing with rising inflation, struggling Naira, now pumping 419 billion into the economy for Nigerians. Do you think that this risks, fueling more inflation and, a harsher economic situation for Nigerians?
Well, yes, it can increase inflation, but I don't think it's going to be that significant, even though when we say 419 billion, it sounds like a lot of money. But given the size of Nigeria's economy, it's almost like a drop in the bucket. But it will still have positive inflationary effects. So, and then the government hasn't said that this is the cap. They might come out tomorrow and then announce we're putting another 100 billion,
yes,
another 200 billion. So the question now is, how long can we, keep doing this without having anything to show for it? Because there's really no way of measuring whether even the 419 billion that has been disbursed has had positive effects. Has it grown the economy? Has it taken people out of poverty? Are we healthier, as a people? What exactly? Now, if government had said, okay, across Nigeria, every young man, who needs a job, we can clear our gutters, we can, cut the grass, we can, clean our own environment, etc. We'll pay you guys 5,000 naira a day. 419 billion naira would go a long way. People will at least be doing some type of dignified work. It's 5,000 naira a day, but at least, you go out every day, you do that, we have a clean environment, And so there are so many alternative ways that we can channel this money as opposed to just giving it out as cash. And then besides, we don't even know how effective this disbursement is. Of course, there's been stories about corruption and money is being siphoned and being put away. And so how do we even know these beneficiaries? How do we even know whether they even get this money? So, there's actually quite a lot that we need to do in this regard.
Okay, so some people on social media, and allegedly there are speculations that the government, as the federal government, is trying to buy Nigerians over, shut them up, give them a token for their silence over what has been going on. An average amount a minister or a senator earns, and it's been on the internet. Everybody has been complaining. All of a sudden they are disbursing 419 billion naira to Nigerians. What does that say about how effective our government is, towards pioneering poverty elevation and other things that is connected to that?
Well, I wouldn't really pay much attention or put a lot of effort into what goes on in social media. On the surface, one could say, well, at least this government has done this. Previous governments did not do it. So, one can say, well, yeah, there are some positive, at least the effort is being made. Let it just be that the way it is being made is still flawed and we haven't perfected it yet. But that the government cares and is thinking about the people. We've always had inflation, we've always had, high prices, we've always had an economy that has been quite unstable in the past. But no government has ever said, okay, here's 500 billion naira. Let me give this to the people and just, disburse it. Not that it's the perfect policy, but at least it's something that has been introduced now. So social media is saying, well, the government is trying to shut Nigerians up, and so on, etc. One or two people's opinions. I don't think I would actually put, too much salt into that.
So there is something interesting I realized. Some officials are citing that about 71% will go to the north and about 21 to 25% will go to the south. I want to understand, what is the metrics to measuring who gets what and who receives what, and why is the south getting 21 to 25%?
Well, there's no metrics. Like I said earlier on, it depends on which states want to participate. And I gave you wrote about 8, 9 states in the south that have not even. In the southeast, southwest, at least 3 out of the 5 or 6 states are not participating. So you can't blame the north if the state governors and the more states are keen into it, and we are not. Besides Anambra and Imo in the southeast, the other 3 states, Ebonyi, Enugu, and Abia, are not participating.
Why do you think the North is so much particular about it, getting all involved?
It all depends on how, first of all, how much importance you pay, to it as a state government, how you promote it to your people. If a state stays silent about it, then the money goes to whoever comes.
Well, because I was wondering, just in line with what she said, whether it's because maybe does it reflect that poverty in the north is more concentrated as opposed to the south?
Yes. However, the program itself doesn't specify that this has to go to the north, this has to go to the south. There are no modalities for that. It just happens that out of the whole north, Jigawa and Kebbi, Borno, and Zamfara also are the only 3 states that are not participating yet. But as far as the federal government is concerned, it is open to all 36 states and the FCT. So if you don't key in as a state,
that's your problem.
Exactly.
Okay,
Yeah.
but do you think that this program is sustainable? Do you think it's sustainable enough looking at Nigeria's situation?
No, it's not sustainable. No palliative is sustainable. It's free money. It is given at the cost or at the expense of other programs that government should be doing. Okay. If government has to build roads or provide money for infrastructure or health or education or any other social service, and they're using this money to now give out as cash, that means that those programs are either going to wait or suffer. You see? And so, if we want to be a socialist, economy or run a socialist system, then we have to come out clearly and say, okay, yes, we're going to be a socialist system where the government takes care of the people. Government provides housing, education is free, health is free, public transportation is free, and all that. And then all this money now goes into it. That way, if you're going home with 10,000 Naira as salary, you know that it's enough because you're not paying rent, you're not buying, you're not paying for transport, because that extra goes into the social, pot to provide these things for you. If we want to now become a capitalist system, which we are running, a near capitalist system where you pay for everything you earn and you pay, and then government is on the other hand providing social services by giving you free money and food stamps and so on and so forth, then we have a mix of different systems. And so unless we come out clearly and specify what we want to do.
Yes, but do you think this thing has political undertones? Because some people are of the opinion that this is more of a political tool to get the aimed at winning public sympathy or public just win the public generally. Do you think it has?
I wouldn't say no, because it is the duty of every government that comes in to ensure that they keep the people happy, because 4 years from now there'll be election, or 4 years from the time they came there'll be elections. So everything they do, every policy has some political undertones to it, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Okay, so for somebody who wants to register, no, I think I'll rephrase that. Is there a registration portal or application? What is the procedure and the requirements for the Nigerians to get this palliative?
There's a registration portal online. There are also, I think it's run, there's a national office that coordinates it under the National Social Investment Program. Yeah, and then so if you go into the portal, you just follow the steps. There's also, I think the states, each state has like an office that coordinates that. So you can either go through your state and get registered if the state's portal is open, and
Yes.
you can do that. But like I said, you must fulfill the conditions. It's not just everybody and anybody. You must be classified as poor. That means that you don't have a job. You live in a poor neighborhood. You come from a poor household.
Can't afford basic amenities.
Yeah, I mean, when you meet those conditions, then you register, and yeah, you're
All
qualified.
right.
Okay.
Thank you so much, Mr. Amobi. Thank you so much for coming and for joining us in this conversation.
Thank
Deeply
you.
appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
All right, and with that, we've spoken on the 419 billion naira unconditional cash distributed to 6 million Nigerians. I mean, I hope this gets across to the people that actually need it and helps them in one way or the other. Well, with that, we'll go on a short